What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Joyce and Oleksandr Usyk. Oleksandr Usyk has recommended that the fight should be in an Olympic stadium in Kiev, Ukraine. Well, Joyce has began his first line of trash talk as he says that Oleksandr Usyk couldn't fill a bathtub, let alone a stadium in Kiev. Oh, wow. The pair will report to fight this year for the WBO interim heavyweight title this year. Of course, that's the mandatory after everything will be said and done with the Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua saga. You know, if that pops off, when that happens, those guys will be in the next line to fight. Now, Joyce is not really a big trash talker. Neither, and Oleksandr Usyk doesn't talk trash at all. He jokes. He's a jokester. But for Joyce to say what he said about Oleksandr Usyk, this is 100% trash talk, okay? Because for one, if the fight was going to be in Kiev, that's the home country of Oleksandr Usyk, I think that he would definitely fill out a stadium if people are allowed to come to a stadium these days, you know, because we're still in the pandemic and, you know, some places are better than others. But Oleksandr Usyk is he's a lot well known in the Ukraine. So I think, yeah, he would definitely sell out a crowd, especially being an undefeated champion, a cruiserweight champion. And now he's in the heavyweight ranks. So in the heavyweight division these days, everybody pays attention. You know, Joyce, I know he wants his revenge because he went to war with Oleksandr Usyk back in 2013 in London. Okay, and Oleksandr Usyk showed that he was too quick, too savvy, too this, too that for Joyce. Now, Joyce to say that he's digging at the marketability of Oleksandr Usyk, saying that Oleksandr Usyk, hey, you know what? You can't feel anything, right? Which I think it's crazy because since he's saying that the fight itself should be in the Ukraine between the two, that means that he's also marking the fact that he's fighting Joyce in Ukraine. So when Joyce says, hey, you couldn't even fill a bathtub in Ukraine, well, you're also talking about yourself because it takes two to tango. Okay, so one of those things where you try to put someone down to that regard, it's not really happening. The counterpunch Joyce, I like Joyce, but I think Joyce should stick to fighting, being the juggernaut that he is, not trash talk, not Jarrell Miller, not Tyson Fury. Okay, that's not his league. That's not his lane. I think he needs to stay in that lane because that was rather lame because he was also talking about himself because Oleksandr Usyk was like, hey, let's have this fight between you and me in Kiev. It's like, dude, you couldn't even fill a bathtub. You know, now I haven't heard what Oleksandr Usyk has said back, but normally he doesn't say anything, you know, in regards, you know, unless it's war. You know, remember he was with War Chisora and then the dude had the medicine ball throwing it on his stomach and that, you know. But other than that, I don't really think that he's a big trash talker when it comes to counter punches and rebuttals, you know. So I think that Joyce is just trying to stir the pot, trying to, you know, start a little mess real quick. And in fact, it was Daniel Dubois that really started that with him. I guess he's getting a little bit of that from Daniel Dubois. But Joyce, no, I don't think that's really in his character. You know, I don't know if he's just trying to get an edge because he lost last time. And I think it's one of those things where he wants revenge and he's trying to use every available avenue to try to distract someone like Oleksandr Usyk. Now, remember something. What I've learned about the Ukrainians, they mostly train their brain first. So, again, I don't think that would be a penetrating factor with talking shit about what you and that guy, right, can't fill up. But I definitely agree. I think they can definitely fill up a bathtub. You know, he said he couldn't even fill up a bathtub. So, yeah, he was straight talking trash. But this is interesting. I mean, it's out of the ordinary for Joe Joyce to say these type of things. That's why I thought, it was worth, reporting on that. Joe Joyce is ready. I think he wants that fight more than anything. In fact, I think he wants that more than the heavyweight champion of the world, because he's an undefeated fighter. They're both undefeated fighters. But Oleksandr Usyk got the better of Joe Joyce back in the day when Joe Joyce was 27 years of age. But then again, in 13, that would have put Oleksandr Usyk where? How old is Oleksandr Usyk? Right? I think he's 33. Yeah, I think he is 33. No, he's 34. So 34, that's 7 years ago. I mean, they were the same age. In fact, no, he's younger than Joe Joyce. So a lot of people say, well, Joe Joyce, he was, he wasn't as experienced then. Okay, fair play. But I mean, if that's the case and that's the fact, I don't think age has a lot to do with it. So, I just think the better man won that particular day, and we will see who's the better man on the day that they fight. However, I think Joe Joyce should really try to promote the idea of fighting wherever Oleksandr Usyk instead of trying to break the marketability down. You know what I mean? But I guess if you're dealing with a fighter that has no losses, no draws, you can't go anywhere else but below the belt. Right? But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Joe Joyce throwing shade on Oleksandr Usyk. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.